Thank you for joining the Author Spotlight Show. My name is Gail Watson, founder and CEO of Women Speakers Association and WSA Publishing, a place that is dedicated to sharing and promoting the gifted messages of women in over 120 countries. When we open our hearts to the world and lead with empathy, we are unstoppable. And we love to shine the spotlight on inspiring women who are transforming the lives of those around them through loving dedication and compassion. And by sharing our personal struggles, our stories, our challenges, these brave women reimagine the boundaries of what is possible and come to the conclusion that her potential can influence this world in a limitless way. Today, I have the proud honor of introducing to you international best-selling author Heather Markel. She is co-author of Voices of the 21st Century, Conscious Caring Women Who Make a Difference. So please welcome Heather.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Super great to have you. So Heather, you're awesome. I call you our own Julia Roberts because you are this global traveler. Since meeting you, you have inspired me at how you have just really been on this traveling journey. And I know that you lead with your heart versus the head. You challenge the status quo. I love you for that. I love your spirit. And so I'd love to, if you could share with our audience today, what inspired you to share your story?
I just literally wanted to inspire others because I know that I'm not the only one. And especially when you look at the great resignation that's happened that I may be responsible for starting. I spent years working in corporate where I was, making a paycheck, I was getting those benefits, but the longer I worked there, the more I felt like I was rotting at my desk, waiting for retirement. And I just had to believe that there was more to life than rotting at my desk and waiting for retirement. And since I'm also not a millennial, I felt that my decision was not just difficult, but also strange to a lot of people because, I was over 40 and here I am like quitting my stable corporate career to do what? So I just wanted to be a voice and be an inspiration for other people, no matter what your age is, to know that you're not alone in wanting more satisfaction from your life. And that, if what you dream of is quitting your job or keeping the job now because remote work is more acceptable and traveling full time, that it doesn't matter what your age is, that please, like, let's all begin to follow our heart because that's what makes life more meaningful.
I love that because, and just so you know, you are a true inspiration to people. And out of the hundreds and hundreds of women that I speak to on a regular basis, you really stood out to me because of your passion. And I think it's also your courage. The way that you have just gone out and put yourself on this traveling journey. I remember you're sharing about how you were couch surfing and then the lockdowns happened while you were traveling and you just rolled with it. So in your story that you share as a reader, what do you really want a reader to take away from your story?
I guess there's probably many things, but, a few things would be that, the struggle when you're living a life that you don't find meaningful is a very real and a very difficult struggle. And I know firsthand that when you feel something and you don't acknowledge those feelings and take actions that represent those feelings, it can be debilitating, literally. In my case, it caused physical pain and issues that ultimately, though, were the trigger for me to quit and go. So I mentioned in my story a bit about that that physical pain. So I guess one takeaway is know that if you're not living a life that suits you and you're having those physical ailments, pay attention to them. They can be signs for transformation. They don't have to become something really debilitating that impacts your life. And the other thing is that the journey is so wonderful. Once you get into the connection to your heart, I guess another takeaway would be just how transformative and inspiring it will be to yourself to do that. And and that courage is a funny thing, because a lot of people have told me that they find my actions courageous. And it's funny because to me, I just was like, it took me a while, but ultimately one day I decided to quit my job and go and travel. And, and it wasn't like a big, in the moment, it didn't seem like this big deal life thing, looking back, I'm like, oh my God, I went through like South America by myself on public buses, and I went to Africa by myself. There are certain things that I'm like, wow, like, yeah, that's pretty cool. But I think every one of us has a journey inside, and I hope that you take away that you can live your journey, and that you take that. If you just know that after reading my chapter, to take like that first step, whatever that is, that would be such a wonderful takeaway that would inspire me.
So how does this show up in your life today? Are you, I mean, I know that I think there's more travel in you. You said
Yes.
earlier
Yes.
that. So
Yeah. I guess the funny thing is, as also a trained life coach, and with the experience of travel, I think I've learned a lot about intuition and change and flow. And so where this shows up is, travel still is such a passion of mine. There's so many more places I want to go. I did get also marooned in New Zealand for 2 years, which is lucky and crazy. And I've learned a lot about, following my heart has, at least I've noticed more since quitting to travel, allowed me to be in the right place at the right time. And so the way that showed up was, one of all places in the world to get marooned. I got marooned in New Zealand. And, if I'm sure you've watched the news, if you haven't, you know that we were COVID free for like a year while the rest of the world was, insane with COVID, and the very different, I was able to travel freely. Also, when the opportunity presented itself to get vaccinated and come home, I took that opportunity, and I felt like there were a few places open to travel, and I did visit a friend in Australia on the way back. But ultimately, instead of continuing to travel, I felt it was time to come home. I hadn't been home in 2 years. And I ended up going and visiting my mother and stepfather. And my stepfather passed away just 2 weeks after I got there. So again, while very sad, it's also been very striking to me how following my heart really has connected me to the right people and the right places in the right times. So, and that still shows up. And so I may not know right in this moment what the next thing I'm going to do next week is, but I have just learned to just trust and listen. And, I'm human. I get triggered, I get upset, I get frustrated, but I also know that beyond that is, things will become clear, just maybe not on my timeline, but they will become clear, and to just let things happen.
I love that attitude, and it's a tough one to do, to just let things happen. It kind of breaks us out of our control freak
Yeah,
mind
I
that we
hate
have.
waiting. Just so you know, like I'm a born and raised New Yorker, so like I hate waiting. So now with like shipping, like okay, Amazon gets you the stuff tomorrow, but everyone else is like, "Where's my pack? How can it take 3 days?" Yeah. So I get it, and it is hard, and it is a constant learning to be patient and be compassionate with yourself as much as with anyone else. And I do my best to continue every day to reflect, to learn, look at where maybe I needed to be more patient and incorporate that for the next time.
Wow. Okay. I know there's a lot of people listening right now going, she's speaking right to me. I wish I was her, because I know that's what I think. I wish I could do what Heather does.
Yep.
And very excited to share your story. If you're listening right now and you're going, yes, she's connecting with me, you need to get a copy of her book. And maybe also think about someone else in your life. I mean, the one thing we know of over the last couple of years, it's kind of stalled us out somewhat. And if you know of somebody who needs some help getting unstuck, this might be the perfect gift for them, just to let them know that you see them and you care, and allow that person to be inspired this way. So, Heather, how can we get multiple copies of your book?
Well, the easiest way would be if you come to my website, which is heatherbegins.com. And if you don't see the graphic on the front page, then you can just go to heatherbegins.com/buy the book, and you will find a copy there, and you can order it right from my website.
Awesome. Well, it's been a pleasure reconnecting with you again. And you are jam-packed with wisdom. So I'm going to ask you a very personal question. Catching you off guard here.
Uh-oh.
Draw down and share with us something that you would like to leave the audience with. Maybe it's just that one person who's really connecting with you right now. What do you want to say? What's your words of wisdom?
I think there's a lot of noise around all of us, and whether the source of that noise is your loved ones, the TV, the newspaper, a book that you read, whatever, remember that beneath all of that noise is you and your essence and your heart and your soul. And remember to check in and connect to your heart and your soul, because at the end of the day, your life and your journey is yours to live. And other people are allowed to have opinions or suggestions about what they feel you should do. But remember, at the bottom of that, it's your life and your choice to do whatever it is that you feel you should do. And I'd say, remember to feel instead of always thinking, because that is the first way to journey from your head to your heart, is to just say, I feel, and take that and see where you go.
Wow. We will leave it there. Thank you, Heather. Thanks for sharing your journey with us. And I look forward to staying on your journey. I lived through you. And you are truly amazing. And you are doing things that a lot of us wish we could do. So you are someone to follow. I love that you walk your talk. And I'm sure a lot of people want to stay in touch with you. So thank you, audience, for listening today. Go to her site, order copies of this book and support her.
Thank you.
To help her with her travels. Yeah. So thanks again, Heather. And
thank you.
And to our listeners, we look forward to connecting with you again really soon on our next Author Spotlight show.
Bye.